Hey, 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 you know what day it is. What day is it? It's Tuesday Tea with D. Tuesday Tea with D. Tuesday Tea with D. Tuesday Tea with D. It's Tuesday Tea with D. 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 Hey, boo, hey, it's your girl, Detra Trueheart, your life purpose generator, purpose provoker, your personal life strategist and life coach here with another weekly dose and serving of Tuesday Tea with D. And honey, guess what? We are officially over the 100 mark. We are at 101. I am super ecstatic, excited, and all the things about this new journey into possibly 100 more episodes of Tuesday Tea with D. I hope that you have been enjoying them. I hope that you join me every single week. I hope that you are sharing them. I hope that you are subscribed to this YouTube channel. And please make sure that you are commenting right, because that also helps me. You know what I'm saying? Because I want the YouTube community to be able to get some of this good old tea. But we are excited. Well, I should say I'm excited about today's conversation. We kicked it off yesterday. As you know, I've been trying to do a weekly theme around a specific conversation. And this conversation actually kicked off Monday morning. Before I did my Monday morning walk talk, every Monday morning I send a text message to my incubators. That's part of one of the fun things that I do. It's sometimes it's motivational, sometimes it's a little chin check, sometimes it's encouraging, sometimes it's Bible based. But every week they get a little something to jumpstart their week. And so this week's conversation was around talking to yourself like you would your good girlfriend. And so I shared that in yesterday's. I don't always share them because that's for them, but I felt like somebody else needed to hear it. And so yesterday we kicked off the conversation with, right, talk to yourself as if you were like one of your good girlfriends. And so today's conversation is entitled You Wouldn't Speak to Her Like That. And the reason I've decided to kind of keep it consistent throughout the week is because I know some of you are not in my Facebook group and some of my Facebook people are not on YouTube, and I want to make sure that everybody is getting this message, right? And so so we'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. But I really want to just say thank you, right? Again, for joining me, for being a part of Tuesday Tea with D, for being a part of my YouTube community, for being a part of my community in general. So you might be on YouTube as well as my email list, my text list. You might be also joining me on one or more of my social media pages. And so I really want to say thank you. Hopefully you are subscribed to the YouTube channel. You are liking all the videos, commenting on the videos, and most importantly, sharing them with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people, right, who need to hear this message, right? Do not be selfish. Don't be hoarding the tea to yourself, but make sure you are sharing it, right? So before we get to the tea, we got to get to the tea. So today's tea is this is a oldie but goodie. This is my green tea with ginger and probiotics. And there's also a peppermint tea. And this tea is actually inspired by my allergies, child. So as you noticed from last week's conversation, it still has is here again. And I recognize that one of the teas that helps with allergies and sinuses is there's a ginger tea, a green tea, peppermint tea. And so I got all three in one, right? I have the green tea with the ginger in it, as well as a peppermint tea, because honey, this throat be scratching and itching. And so I use this in order to kind of like help with my throat. And it actually it's actually really been good because it's been chilly here, and so nobody wants to drink hot tea in 80-degree weather, which is on its way. Because here, child, summer is taking her old little time, but she got a couple days because summer is technically not supposed to show up until next Wednesday, I think the 20th. So she is moseying. You hear me? It was 57 degrees this morning, maybe even 51 or 52. Right? For some of y'all, where it like the morning start at 80, honey, no. But I think tomorrow we go into the 70s, and then I think by Thursday and Friday we'll hit 80, and then by next week, child, we'll be high 80s, and I will be living in a lap of luxury. Y'all know I love hot weather. Okay, so yes, I did take a taste of this, but just for your sake. And I have actually been drinking this with cinnamon sticks as well. Y'all know I was doing the ginger tea with the cinnamon stick and the cloves, which really helps. And so, oh yeah, that's good. Mm-hmm. Well, let me get a little bit of y'all. Okay, hold on. Mm. Let me drink it out the cup because see, the spoon is holding me back. Let me hold on. Mm. Oh yeah. Mm. Child, y'all know I love me some good tea, honey. Woo! Okay. So today's conversation. I'll talk a little bit about the inner circle probably at the end, because this month is our 4-year anniversary. And so I want you in the inner circle. If you're not in the inner circle, if you're not in the inner circle, I need to know why you're not in the inner circle. So let's jump in because I want to kind of have this conversation with you. You wouldn't speak to her like that, would you? And I say it like that because I really want us to be mindful with how we speak to ourselves, how we respond to our thoughts, how we encourage ourselves or the lack thereof. And so, in this conversation, which may not be a long conversation, but it will be a necessary conversation. Like, get your tea, get your journal, get your pen, and just kind of follow along with me. But I really want you to this week talk to yourself like you would a good girlfriend. Why? Or a good guy friend, right? Because I know I got some guys that watch me. Hey, boo, hey, I see you out there. Um, but I want you to talk to yourself like you talk to her. Why is that? Because if she were to call you right now, and let's just say she was having an issue with showing up, or she needed you to pray for her, or there may have been something going on with her relationship or her money, or maybe she's just not feeling like she's showing up in the way she really needs to be showing up. You would have some kind words, some encouraging words. You would be gentle with her. Sometimes you might give her a little kick in the butt because that's your good girlfriend, right? You're like, girl, listen, like, what's going on here? Why are you tripping? This is not you, right? You would do that. But for us, for whatever reason, we don't talk to ourselves the way we talk to our good girlfriends, right? Sometimes it's like, I don't even know why you keep doing this, or oh, like I guess I'll just sit around and wait, or like those thoughts that go into our heads. And one of the things that I shared a couple of weeks ago at our you experience, if you missed my 3-day masterclass, shame on you. But the replays are in the inner circle. Hint, hint. One of the things that I talked about on the very first day of Reclaiming Your Mind was a quote from Joyce Myers in her book, Battlefield of the Mind, is do you think about what you think about? And a lot of times we don't think about what we think about. We just kind of take whatever comes into our head and we let it kind of run. And we, do whatever it is that, our minds kind of tell us to do, as opposed to kind of pulling back and say, no, I'm not coming into agreement with that. No, that's not how I see myself. No, that's not how God sees me. No, like, no. And so sometimes you have to say, no, you're not a failure, right? Like, just because it didn't work this time doesn't mean you suck, right? Just because you didn't master it this time doesn't mean that you're a failure. Just because the relationship didn't go the way you wanted it to go, like, there's certain things that happen that we just automatically revert to the negative, right? We automatically don't see ourselves. And sometimes we have to grant ourselves grace. Sometimes we have to speak gently to ourselves. Sometimes we have to remind ourselves of how awesome we are. We have to remind ourselves how amazing we are. We have to remind ourselves how far we have come. We have to even remind ourselves, if you remember back, and I don't number the episodes, but the conversation when we talked about checking our receipts, when I told you to check your receipt, sometimes you have to check your receipts. And so a lot of times when you have another girlfriend, or you being the girlfriend or the guy friend who is talking to your friend, and you're telling them like, yo, like, okay, so you've overcome this, you've actually accomplished this, like you did this, you did that. And so when you are in a space of being able to do that for someone else, it comes so much more easier. But I want you, sometimes we don't have people talking to us like that, right? Sometimes you ever like need somebody to talk to, you make the phone call and nobody answers. And a lot of times I've learned over the years that that's God really saying, okay, well, what about me? Right. And so we know if we have a conversation with God, God is going to affirm us. God is going to, say you are loved, like you are called. Like, remember the promises that I've spoken over you. Remember what I've deposited in you. Remember that I love you, that I sent my son to die for you so that you could have life and have it eternally. Like, he would begin to pour into you heavily. Like, honey, we didn't even talk about this yesterday, but this is a whole separate conversation around talking to you the way God would talk to you. Hmm. Right? What would he say to you in this situation? How would he respond? Right? And in some instances, no, he might not be pleased with what you've done, especially if doing something that you don't have no business doing. We all do, right? And so, yes, there is some conviction there, but there is no condemnation, right? The word says that there is no condemnation to them who are in Christ Jesus. And so, there's no condemnation, but there are consequences. But even outside of that, God will say, you are my beloved, you are called, you are chosen, right? You are part of a royal priesthood, you are a holy generation, royal generation, right? You are a holy people, right? You are a peculiar people, you are a people that is called unto me. You are an heir, right, of my throne, right? Of what I am leaving not only to my son, but to you, right? You are called, you are a child of mine, you are adopted into the family. And so when you look at it from that perspective of talking to yourself the way you would talk to a good girlfriend, or even the way that God would speak to you, it changes, right? How you speak to yourself. You're not as hard on yourself, right? And sometimes you do have to say, girl, get your butt up, right? I know for me, sometimes I have to coach me in the same way that I would coach you. And in those instances, I might have to say, okay, so then why the excuses? Why do we keep going back to this? Why do we keep, having this same conversation? Is this helping or is this hurting? Like, can you actually control this scenario and this circumstance? Like, what are the things that you actually have control over, and what are the things that you can actually do in this space, right? I have to sometimes coach myself through it. Sometimes you might have to give yourself a little tough love and say, okay, well, like what God said to Samuel, how long you gonna cry over Saul? Like, that was 30 days ago. I need you to go and anoint the next king. Like, I need you to shake and bake. And so sometimes you have to do that. And so there's a time and a place for that. But I think a lot of times the stuff that we say to ourselves, or the thoughts that we have, are not ones that are loving. They're not kind. They're not soothing. They're not gentle. They're not corrective, right? They're more of criticism, but not correction. And so I think it is important for you to take some time to think about how you talk to yourself. Do you cheer yourself on, right? Do you encourage yourself? Do you, like, if somebody calls and they need to be reminded of who they are, child, you have, especially if you have a relationship with them and you have history with them, you going all the way in, like, okay, so, like, where, first of all, where is this coming from? Like, why are you feeling like whatever it is, right, that you can't accomplish it, that you can't, that you can't have it, or that, it's not going to happen, whatever the thoughts are, like, where is it coming from? And then, you have that conversation. You start to say, okay, well, why would you even think that? You know what I mean? Like, I want you to have a conversation with you like you would with what were the things that you would be saying? And you might need to write it down so that when those thoughts come up again, you can be like, oh no, I got something for this. And you can read it, right? Sometimes it's important for us to write some stuff down, write some affirmations down. Like, I have in one of my journals, and I think I transitioned it to my phone. There's like maybe about 25 release statements. Like, I release this, I release that, I release this, I release that. And then I also have maybe 2 years ago, I think it was, that I did permission. It was a permission text. It was like 31 days of permission. And so every day was basically, I give myself permission to. And sometimes you have to write that stuff down. And so I wrote those down, but I shared them with my community. People either signed up via text, or it was posted, I think, in my Facebook group. It might have been posted all over social media. But if people wanted them directly to their phone, they could subscribe to my text community. And so sometimes you have to write those things down in order to remind yourself, right? So we have to be transformed by the renewing of our mind. And so renewing is a process. It is a daily process. Sometimes it is a second by second, minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day, week by week, month by month, right? Quarter by quarter, year by year process. It is not a, oh, I got to change mine today and I don't have to do anything to renew it. No, there will be circumstances that will come up. There will be situations that will trigger you. The floor will fall right up under you, from under you, and it will challenge everything you knew about yourself. It will challenge everything you thought, it will challenge the strength that you thought you had, and you thinking like, child, this ain't nothing compared to it. I don't even know how to transition out of this. I don't know how to get out of this. I don't know how to move out of this. And so yes, you need people who can encourage you, because sometimes you don't know what to say to yourself. But this isn't about those times. This is about the times where you need to be able to talk to yourself. Right? As a song that used to say, I talk to myself because there is no one to talk to. People ask me why I do what I do. I'm dating myself. And so some of y'all will do not know what that song, but I remember that song. If you remember that song, I want you to type in the comments if you remember that song, child. And that's so funny. So, but yeah, but sometimes you have to talk to yourself, right? Sometimes you have to, as the song says, encourage yourself. And it's important because when you don't have anybody else, your voice will be the one that matters most, right? And let me just say, not outside of God, right? Like, so sometimes it really is important for you to go before him and say, okay, well, Lord, I don't have anything to say about myself. What do you say about me? And take his words, right? I teach that a lot of times when I'm teaching about prayer, that if you don't know what to say God's word. Go into his word and pray his word. If you're reading the book of Proverbs, if you're reading the book of Psalms, whatever it is that you're reading, right? Read it back to yourself as if like you're talking to yourself, as if God is talking to you. And so that's important, right? So I want you to take some time in your journal, and I want you to think about how you speak to yourself. Are you kind to yourself? Are you gentle to yourself? Are you encouraging to yourself? Are you affirming to yourself, right? Do you correct yourself, right? Or do you want to let yourself slide? Sometimes we have to get to a point where we have to say, okay, you've been chilling for way too long. When you getting up? Because we have those girlfriends who say that too. Like, child, like you've been chilling real hard. Like, what's really going on? You said you was gonna do X, Y, and Z. Are you walking every day like you said you would? Are you drinking your water? Like, what's going on? You said that you had this plan together, but like, what's really going on? Do you really have the plan? Or are you still playing around? Right? So you need to be able to have those specific conversations with yourself, whether it is the affirming conversation or the self check, right? You need to have a little chin check with yourself. But I want you to really double check how you are talking to yourself, because it matters, right? Sometimes it's not what other people say to you, it's what you say to yourself, right? I can say all of the amazing things, but if you say, yeah, but I don't know. Like, well, I don't believe it, or that's, like you don't believe what people say about you, even though it's true, right? What thoughts about you transition into the words that you say to and about you that cause you to second guess yourself, that cause you not to fully show up, to cause you not to take the leap, to cause you not to go all in, to cause you not to operate in the fullest and highest version of who God has created you to be. And so I want you to take some time to write that, to reflect on it, to think about it, because I think as we transition, like, okay, so let's talk about this. I'm going to talk about this probably next week, just a reflection piece around we are now 6 months into the year and we have 6 more months to go, which means that we have more than enough time to do the things that we need to do. But what are how do you need to be showing up, and how do you need to be talking to yourself for the rest of the year to accomplish the things that you desire? What do you need to be saying on a consistent basis to yourself in order for you to show up as the highest and best version of you, but also to be in a space where you're not talking yourself out of the very things that you desire, you know? So I hope that this was good for you, because it was good for me. I'm going to take a sip of this good old tea. You hear me? Mm, this is good. Let me move the little string out the way, honey. Mm, I love me a good cup of tea. You hear me? So, with that being said, let's talk a little bit about the inner circle. This is my mentorship and my membership community of faith that helps push, provoke, and propel overwhelmed and overthinking Christian women. And it helps them to get out of their own way and get equipped to take their next best step in life, business, and ministry. Um, and I really think that it is important because in some instances, we are really not showing up in the way that we need to. And we really need community because guess what? Sometimes what you need is a community of women who can remind you of who you are as well, right? Who can remind you of what to say, who can give you things to say about you when you're out of things to say, right? Because one of the things that I'm recognizing is a lot of times we're in spaces and we're in communities, but they're not communities that really allow us to grow in the way that we need to grow. And so we're like stagnant, we're stuck, we're stalled, we're quiet, we're sabotaging. And so this is an opportunity for you to get in space so that you can not only get monthly teaching from me, but you can be in community with other women who are really to some extent going through the same thing as you are. Like you would be surprised at the number of powerful women who silently second guess the call that God has had on that God has on their lives, their giftings, the next level, the desires that they have, like second guessing a whole lot of different things. And a lot of it really is sometimes just because we've been conditioned not to want more, right? Or we've been conditioned to be like, okay, well, we've made it this far, like we should be good, or we should be okay at this point. Or the fact that we know that there's more and we just don't know what it looks like in order to jump into it. And so you can get in community to explore what that looks like. You know what I mean? And my role really is to give you the tools spiritually and professionally to be able to show and personally to show up professionally, right? So I want you to join, right? And let me just pull this up here because I forgot to put this here so that you can see. You can go to iSpeaklifeinnercircle.com. It's 47 a month and it is 470 for the year. I always tell people to just go on ahead and join for the year. You save 2 months and then you don't have to worry about paying each month. It's already set. But again, the women who come, they've been saying, the accountability has been great. The time of reflection has been great. Being able to grow spiritually has been amazing. The opportunity to be in community with like-minded women has been amazing. Being stretched has been amazing. Like there's so many different things that they really love about the inner circle. And the great thing is you don't have to show up every month because you get access to the monthly videos in the portal, right? So if you miss a month, and the way that God has had me working lately is giving a word a month. And so recently we've been doing a lot of Bible study, but even for this month's conversation, our word is reflect. And he gave it to me at the last minute. And I was like, are you sure? And the crazy part about God is because I've been doing this for 4 years, um, I will go back and I'll be thinking like, you know what? I think I did this already. Like, didn't I teach on this specific word? And I'll go back and God is so like just awesome, right? Because he knows all things. And I'll be looking and I'm like, well, I guess you would know if I taught it already and I wouldn't have it. So I just knew I had taught on the word reflect. And so we're going to talk about that. And God gives me specific downloads as it relates to that word. I break it down and we relate it to how we need to be moving this month as well as this year. But I think, he really wants me to be talking about reflecting as we reflect on these last 6 months and well, the first 6 months, and then what it looks like to reflect on the last 6 months. There are some specific things that God really wants us to be doing, and reflection has to be a part of that. So, with that being said, I think I'm done. I hope that you enjoyed today's conversation and make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure that you like the video. Make sure you comment on the video. Let me know if you know that song. Let me know, do you think about what you think about? Let me know how you talk to yourself. What do you say when you talk to yourself? Do you talk to yourself like you talk to your good girlfriends? Or do you talk to yourself in a way where you wouldn't necessarily speak to her the way you speak to yourself, right? I want to know, right? After you finish subscribing, liking, and commenting, you know what I'm going to ask you to do. I want you to share this with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people, right? Get the link, text 5 people and say, hey, Tuesday Tea is out. Tuesday Tea with D is out again. Share it on your social media page. and tag me. Like, let the folks know that Tuesday Tea with D is where they need to be. Right, I got bars right there. My son will be the side eye and he'd be like, "Yeah, I got bars. Tuesday Tea with D is where they need to be." He'd be like, "Really, mom?" So, with that, I also want you to think about joining me for the inner circle, in the inner circle, not for the inner circle. I'm thinking about a couple of things, letting you know that 21 Days of Prayer is coming back in July for a mid-year reset. So set your calendar and mark your dates for July 7th through the 27th. It'll be 10 p.m. nightly. Like we've always done. This will be the first time that I'm doing a mid-year reset, but this is what God wants me to do. I have been feeling like I needed to do something mid-year after the first of the year because I feel like by mid-year we like, dang, like it's been a lot happening. We need a reminder. We need a reset. And so there will be all new speakers this year. And so none of the speakers from January will be in July. And so it will be a new word about this mid-year reset, right? And it will not overshadow the beginning of the year's word, but it'll be around this mid-year reset, right? How we reset for the rest of the year. So when the information comes out, make sure you register so that you can be a part of it. We will also be fasting for those 3 weeks, and I'm really excited about it. Save the date, December 6th through 8th. I'm just letting you know that iSpeaklife Live, you know, I've been talking about this for forever. And so I want to make sure that you save the date. I want you there. Registration will probably open after 21 Days of Prayer. I'm just letting you know now. So get your coins ready for early bird registration. And I'm sure there are a couple other things that are going on. If you want to work with me one-on-one, reach out to me. Let me know. I have some options and some different things, excuse me, that are available to you. And other than that, I will see you next time on Tuesday Tea with D. Tuesday Tea with D. Tuesday Tea with D. Tuesday Tea with D.